Hey everyone, it's Joy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing Spellbinders club kits. I do the 3D embossing folder and the Glimmer Hot Foil system. And so I made 2 cards with that, and then I have 2 quick bonus cards at the end. Let's start with the Glimmer Hot Foil kit of the month. This is for February 2023. I'm starting with a piece of 120-pound cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. And this has a foil, it looks like tulips, and then you have a die that can cut out from the top. So I want to tape this in place on my cardstock. The foil that you get for the kit is it looks kind of like a hot pink, and I don't remember the name, but I decided to use matte gold foil. I'm actually not using my aura foil, which is my favorite, but I did want to use a gold. So I'm going to tape that in place. Then I can trim my matte gold foil with the foil trimmer, even though that's not what it's called. I always forget what this is called, but this is from Spellbinders. It is fantastic. I do have everything listed and linked for you below. My Glimmer Hot Foil machine is heating up, so we might as well just cut everything while I have it turned on. And then once it's nice and hot, we can continue with the process of foiling. I will trim the excess off, and I could have used that trimmer, but I kind of forgot about it until it was a little too long. So I push the button for it to blink. Now that it's done blinking, it takes about a minute. I can pull it out of the docking station, put my plates on top, run it nice and slow through my die cut machine. I have the Platinum 6. And I like to go forward and back really slow. Then I can peel up the foil and we have a nice foiled image. I also want to do both sentiments. One of them says sending flowers and a smile, and the other one says hope blooms. And there's a coordinating die that comes with that. And I'll show you how that works, because it's big enough for that big sentiment, and then we can use it for the small sentiment as well. I did have the tiniest bit of overfoiling right next to the sentiment, so I used my Tombow Mono Eraser, and that just gets it off nice and easy. So let's start with the big sentiment. I am going to tape this in place with some low tack tape, being careful to not let the tape sit on top of the foil, because it can pull it up. I've had it touched before and it not pulled up, but it can. So I'm going to line up on the left side, the die on the left side of the sentiment, run it through the die cut machine, and then I can line it up now on the right side, tape it in place, and run that through the die cut machine. So you can use a bigger sentiment die for a small sentiment, and that's how you would just die cut that. All right, I am using Altenews woodless coloring pencils, and they are really pretty. I thought colored pencils would be a lot of fun. I'm also using my GAMSOL to blend out the colors. And so I am using, for the pink and yellow flowers, is Fresh Lemon and Rubellite. For the other color flowers is Coral Bliss and Orange Cream. And then for the greenery is Limeade and Grass Field. I am not going to show all of the coloring here. I'm just going to show you a little bit. So if you've not used GAMSOL before, you have these paper stubs that you dip in the GAMSOL. You also have sandpaper, which is off to the left. And so you can sand it in between different colors. So you lay down your color with your colored pencils, however light or dark you want. You dip your paper stub in the GAMSOL and just blend it out. It's just like a blender marker almost, in a way, and you blend out the color, and it really takes away most, if not all, of the colored pencil lines, and it helps you blend your colors together. So it's a lot of fun to use. I've had this forever. I don't use it that often because I think I forget about it. So it's really super easy. I did add some more of that orange cream, and I'm blending it out more with that GAMSOL. Here is that Limeade and Grass Field. Actually, this is Grass Field, and then I come back in with the Limeade and blend over, color over the top, and then I will dip my nub. I did sandpaper off the tip so it sands off that previous color, and now I can dip it a little bit into the GAMSOL, and you dip it fast. You don't hold it in there, you just dip it and pull it up and then blend out your colors, and look at how pretty. Okay, let's use that coordinating die to die cut the top. So I can line that up, tape it in place, and then just run that through my die cut machine as well. I'm also going to use that die because I want a gold shadow, a gold mirror shadow behind it. Oh, well, we'll get to that in a second. I forgot. I did this background first. We'll get to that in a minute. So in my Misty, I am using Simon Says Stamp's Hand-Lettered Friends background stamp, and I am using Melon ink from Simon Says Stamp to ink that up. This is going to be the background, and I did it on a sticky mat in my Misty. Okay, now let's die cut this from Mirror Cardstock. I had the die cut a little bit low, so it cut 2 pieces, but it works just fine. So I want to offset them just a little bit on the back to add a nice little gold shadow because we have that pretty gold foil. So I added some adhesive to the back, and then I can add this. And it's just an ever so small shadow, but I think it makes a really nice, a really pretty difference. So if that makes sense, a really good difference. There we go. And it's pretty. That makes more sense. All right, I want to add foam tape to the back of this. I want this to be popped up. And then we already have our sentiments done. I did the sentiments for both of the cards. And then I'll show you those 2 quick bonus cards at the end. It's super simple and they are so pretty. And it's always helpful when you have sentiments in your stash. So, okay, let's add foam tape behind this sentiment. This one says sending flowers and a smile, which is obviously perfect. Spellbinders always just coordinates their stuff so nicely. So I'm trimming down my little pieces of foam tape, and then I will center that above those flowers. Sorry, my one piece of foam tape was trying to stick out of the side. Okay, let's go on to our embossing folder. This is the 3D embossing folder of the month. I spritzed an A2 size piece of white cardstock. I'm going to do this 2 ways because I wasn't sure how I wanted it to look. So this is the first way that I went with. The second way is going to be the bonus cards. Okay, so on my silicone mat, this is from scrapbook.com, I am just stamping down Lemonade and Carnation ink from Simon Says Stamp. And I spritzed it with a little bit of water, and I'm gently tapping the raised areas from that embossing folder onto the ink. Some of it got a little blurry because there was more water, so I think next time I'd probably do a little bit less water, but I think it turned out beautiful, and once it dried, it looked so pretty. So I'm just looking over the background, dipping it in the colors where it doesn't have any, getting a little bit of orange blended between the pink and the yellow. Obviously, any color combination would be fabulous, but I really love pink and yellow. I think it's so, so pretty. But look at it catching all of those raised areas. All right, so I've got some ink left over. I'm going to add a little bit more of that lemonade, and I'm taking a whole sheet and I'm dipping it in before we do the embossing. So I did spritz the background a little bit more with water. This is like the traditional like ink smooshing kind of deal. It still is wet, which is perfect. And then I can put that in the embossing folder, which you can see how large that embossing folder is. Now look at how different this looks. You can still tell that that ink is on the background and not on the raised areas. So we're going to make bonus cards out of that big sheet. I decided to add a gold mirror matte, a very thin, behind our embossing folder image. I did trim it down about a 1/2 inch smaller than an A2 size. I'm adding this to a top folding card base. And then I will add the sentiment that says Hope Blooms that we foiled at the beginning. And I do want to add some Studio Katia Gold Fever confetti to this card. I am actually not adding it to the other card. I just felt like it didn't need it at all. So we're going to add a few of these. We can take a look at these and then I will show you the bonus cards really quick. So this is the finished hot foil or glimmer foil. Glimmer hot foil. There we go. And isn't that pretty? I love it with the colored pencils. This is the embossing folder, the 3D embossing folder. I'm telling you, embossing folders are my favorite. Then the other 2 I trimmed down, one for a top folding. Well, the other one's kind of top folding too, but I trimmed them down, added a gold mat behind it, and took some sentiments out of my stash and popped those up with foam tape. And now we have 2 quick cards. So thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.